The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's Platinum Success Training webinar with your host, Todd Walters.
Thanks, Andrea. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're all settled in, got your notepad handy, and you're right in front of your computer. I got Blake Corey. I'm going to open up his microphone here in a minute. He's going to join us as a special guest. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of ground to cover today. This is part four of four in our series on just getting the telephone. Prospects pick up the phone, give you a call directly, and say, hey, I want to talk to you about selling my house. Hey, can you help me buy a house? Those kinds of phone calls. You guys like those? Yeah, that's pretty overwhelming that we like those calls. So I've heard this is one of the first days back at school for many of you this week, back at school week this week. So congratulations for those of you with kids still in school and getting them back in class. I know it can be a chore just getting the kids out the door some days. So my days of doing that, they're over. That's what happens when you get a little older, but lots of great memories there on those back to school days. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And many days would like to go back and do it again. So all the best to all you parents out there getting your kids back in school and all that. And for those of you like me who don't have to do that anymore, we're trying to figure out what to do with our time, right? All right, so let's get right into what we want to cover today. I'm going to start with something interesting that I think you guys, make sure there's something on here, it's not going to get me in trouble, would be interesting. I just need to figure out how to blow this thing up. Let me see if I can do that. But anyway, I'll throw it up on the screen. I'll push the pause button. I'm going to copy and paste this into a Word document. I should have already done that, guys. I'm sorry. And blow it up on the screen so you can see it in big time fashion. Okay, here we go. That's a little bigger. All right, so this is an email. So pay very close attention here as I make the font bigger so we can all see it. But I thought this was definitely worth sharing with you guys. So here we are on the third Tuesday of the month. And as you remember, the third Tuesdays, I like to get somebody on the webinars and we talk about what's working in their business and how things are going. Blake's going to help us out with a bit of it today, but we are going to tie everything into part four of this series that we're doing. But I want to flip it over to you for a minute, and so that you are on the same page with me on what these consults look like with the coach, you. They should be tied into working on your business. So I put together an email a while back that I send to Platinum members that I might be talking to, or a coach or anyone. And this is kind of the rules for the engagement. So many of you, I believe, still have some issues in terms of implementing the pace of implementation. You're doing a pretty good job of getting some things implemented and making accomplishment, right? But I would wonder what your pace of implementation of the system is. So I like that word, pace. You may want to write that down. What's the pace of the growth of your business? And we'll come back to that in a little bit. But check it out. This is kind of my rules. So if you and I were going to have a conversation today, a one-on-one consult or a two-on-one consult with the coach, this is kind of the rules for engagement. Number one, you got to be sitting at your desk. Okay? Don't be on the road, driving around your car, driving through McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or whatever it might be. That's not a good way to work on making a quantum leap, would you say? All right. Number two, be logged into your computer on craigproctorcoaching.com, which most of you are, and you already know the drill here, because we're gonna use that as a resource as we move through our time together. All right. So what's another one? Have the platinum, number three here, have the platinum first 6-month checklist printed and accurately checked off only items that are 100% complete. So you should be familiar with that checklist, especially if you're a newer platinum member. But if you've been around for 3 years, I wonder how far you are along on the first 6 months of implementation. First 6 months make all the difference in the world. So if you're seeing some people like Blake, we're going to talk to him momentarily, others that are having insane levels of success, uncommon to, the industry, $500,000, $1 million or more increase in business year over year. I want you to know that it really goes all the way back to how they did things early on in the process. So very important you don't miss out on that. All right. Next is I'm saying, hey, have the Platinum Business Plan printed and handy. What that means, it's close by, okay, while we're doing our consult together. And if you're just joining us, what I'm sharing with you is that if we were doing a consult, you and me as coach, one-on-one on the telephone, this is kind of my rules, the email that goes out ahead of me to the member, okay? Next. All right, so that's the first 4. That's all pretty simple stuff, right? All right, let's look at the next 5. These are things that are required of you to get to me before we even have a conversation, all right? So I would want you to forward to me your to-do list, your big initiatives list, your issues list, and your scorecard. That's all part of the working on your business system that we're going to cover in pretty good detail when we get together in Anaheim at the Millionaire Agent Maker Conference in October 10th, 11th, and 12th, okay? We're going to drill down on that. As a matter of fact, if we got time, I'll drill down on it a bit today. Blake and I maybe can share some more of that with you. All right, the next thing I would want to know is where your closings are coming from. I'm not really that interested beforehand on where your leads are coming from, but I do want to know where your money's coming from, all right? The money reveals everything. Where your money's coming from, that kind of reveals what we need to drill down on and focus more on. Probably do more of, okay? Next, measurement of progression. That's a biggie. Gross commission income. Is your business up or down over the same time last year? It's called the quantum leap system. Not stay the same or go backwards, quantum leap. So what we're interested in, Craig Proctor, myself, we're interested in growth. Personal, professional. Okay, so we want to know that. Is business up or down over the same time last year? Okay, here's another one. Who you hanging out with? Who are the other Platinum members that you're associating with? When was the last time you mastermind with those folks? Give me some details. Okay. So next, what's your vision for your business? Without a vision, people perish. It's King Solomon said that. I love repeating that because it's so true for me, probably for you too. But what is your vision? Short-term, long-term? I'd like to know. Because if we're going to progress this business, isn't it about progressing it toward accomplishment of that? Yes. Okay. Next, just let me know, are you set to attend the next meeting? The meeting is an offsite for us to work on business together and build that big initiatives list, I call it, rocks, some people call it, okay? All right, this one right here, I got to know. What is your dedicated time each day you invest in working on implementation? Example, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. But there's some dedicated time, isn't there? Some dedicated time each day that you work on your business, okay? All right, look at K. Your most recent accomplishment, what would you say it is? So this is sort of the rules for our time together. If we were doing a consult, you would get this email, and many of you have, and this is kind of the way it works. Otherwise, yeah, it's not going to be very productive time on the telephone. Now, some of this on here you guys probably have questions about and not sure about. We'll try to answer some of those today. But this is kind of how it works as you start to enter into working on your business more and not necessarily in it all the time, okay? So with that, let me bring, I'm going to open up your mic, Blake. You there?
Right here, Todd.
All right. So you and I were talking about this the other day. We kind of went through some of these things and we were having a discussion. First of all, how you doing, man?
Dude, doing pretty good, man. Nice, sunny, beautiful out over here on the left coast.
You said it, not me. That's okay, though. All right, let's spend a couple of minutes here, though, on this working on your business process. When I'm polling members, Blake, the number one thing that comes up a bit more than others would be the pace of implementation. Hey, what's your biggest issue? You know, implementing this, doing that, doing it. So I think it's important for all of us to get on the same page and kind of standardize how we go about even working on the business. So you're pretty familiar with these things like a to-do list, a big initiative list, an issues list, a weekly scorecard. just tell me a bit about changes in your business with using a scorecard, say before and after story, if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, we've got a team here, especially when you're managing, 2 inside sales associates, you're managing, I've got 7 or 8 outside salespeople. When you're not keeping score, before when we weren't keeping score, we weren't using that scorecard. We were getting just all different types of response, people going out, making excuses, telling stories. I mean, they'd always come back and, they'd always think they're doing well, or we always felt like we were doing well until we started keeping track. And once we started keeping track, we started to see what our true percentages were. We started to see not only who the best outside salespeople really were, which shockingly enough, our second and third place outside salesperson, we didn't know that they were as good as they were. When it came to percentages. But it's kind of like what I told you the other day, whether a score chart or a P&L statement, when you start to keep track of the numbers, whether the finances of your business, whether the appointments, the closings, whatever it may be, your decision-making process becomes easier. Well, it became easier for me anyway, Todd, because it's the statistics and it's the numbers that tell you what to do next. And for the scorecard right there, it tells me every Monday morning, I look at that when we're doing our sales meeting, I can tell you exactly where my company's weak, exactly where we need to focus on, and how we need to get, and who needs to get better, who needs the special attention to really get their numbers up to where they need to be, that standard performance to maintain not only getting appointments, but even being on the team. So without that scorecard, without those rocks and initiatives, without having a clear vision of where you want to go with your company, you end up just, being in a hamster wheel all the time, always trying to move forward.
All right, so let me flip it back over here. So the best way to start keeping score is measuring the business over where it was same time last year. So that's kind of the first part of this gig. If I was a sort of a new platinum member or someone getting situated on keeping score, like just measure income over the same month a year ago and year to date. It's the easiest way to go about it first. And then you can begin with measurables or metrics in running a business. And we're going to work more on this when we get together at the Millionaire Agent Maker Conference in Anaheim. Let's flip it back over to to-do list. Let me say this to everybody, okay? The thing that should happen at the end of every Platinum webinar, so Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Time to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time approximately, and then between 5:30 and 6 is your time after the webinar to get your to-do list aggregated and get it on over to your coach. This is the first thing that should happen after every webinar. So I like sharing my to-do list with people that are on my leadership team. I like sharing it with Craig Proctor, Catherine. As a matter of fact, I just sent them an email with some to-dos and initiatives. So sharing that adds more layers of accountability to getting things done. So I know, Blake, you keep a to-do list pretty handy. I've seen it. Pretty much everywhere you go, you've got this little to-do list that you're adding to, scratching things off. So I like to tell Platinum members, look, just manage your to-do list from webinar to webinar. Go from Tuesday to Tuesday, adding to and scratching off. So just keep on your to-do list things that you can get done within a very short period of time. So a good example of a to-do list would be, hey, start keeping a to-do list. Modify the referral acknowledgement form to match your calls. That's a to-do. You could do that in a few minutes. That's different than these big initiatives, Blake. So like this week, you Titanium members are coming into town in Atlanta for what we call an advance. And over those 2 days, you're going to be filling up a bucket just based on big things that you're going to want to do in your business to move it forward. So I encourage members, it's like, look, that's a bigger deal. Like example would be fully implement the Platinum referral marketing system. It's like 4 or 5 parts to this thing. So, okay, well, that's going to take longer than a week or two. That's going to take me a month or two. So the easiest way to manage initiatives is go from what I call offsite to offsite, or meeting to meeting, conference to conference. So many of you were in Orlando at the Money Making Summit, okay, back in June. Well, coming up here in October is our Millionaire Agent Maker Conference. Okay, so there was a big initiatives list put together at the summit. I'm sorry, at the what was it, the Orlando conference, and then here we come around to another big meeting. Well, during that time frame, I'm lining through initiatives, big initiatives that I implemented, because I'm going to be adding some more rocks to my list there. All right. Now, I want to talk specifically, though, Blake, with you about issues. Do you have any issues?
Oh, yeah, I got one or two.
Yeah, we all have issues, man. So, but prioritizing the issues is typically the issue for most people watching today's webinar. Okay. So I started this 4-part series, Blake, because many members were saying, look, I would like to get more call-ins. I'm not getting very many call-ins. My phone's not ringing much. Looked at our best members, and they get, a dozen call-ins a day with people saying, yeah, I want to talk to you about buying or selling real estate. So I was like, okay, we're going to do a 4-part series around that to increase the number of incoming calls from prospects, which is primarily now business. Okay. But see, that came as a direct result of it showing up on people's issues list. So I know you're telling your members, your platinum members here, you're telling them, hey, send me your issues list, and when we do our consult, we're going to work on prioritizing those and solving at least one of those issues on every consult. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Any stories around that you could share?
Yeah, well, it was after you and I talked a lot over the last couple of months as well, how to do better consults with, especially with platinum members. It's been a lot better. We've seen a lot of progress, because the number one issue that we were seeing across the board is what we're going over in these webinars. How do we get more inbound phone calls from prospects who are ready to move? And spending time working on that project together, even when I saw you down in Atlanta, we've had a huge increase for platinum members, the amount of inbound phone calls they are receiving, not only from paid ads, but really from free advertisement that's up there, which is dramatically changing the landscape of how they do things. Some members, I can tell you one right away, a member with their P&L was hurting from the amount they were spending on, let's say, Zillow. And so we strategized on how they can still generate inbound calls from Zillow without having to hit the P&L statement so hard. And that was one major win, because all of a sudden now they're not spending that same amount of money on Zillow, saving $8,000 a month, but they're actually converting a higher percentage of prospects because they got free listings up there to generate inbound phone calls using the Craig Proctor system. So that's probably one win.
I love it. Okay, so hopefully everyone's making notes. They're shoring up their to-do list, because when we get done today, I would recommend you send that over to your coach. First thing that you should do on every webinar. Plus, I want to remind everybody about the Proctor dollars. Blake, we've been giving out Proctor bucks to platinum members who attend these webinars live. And then we send a survey out with about 5 questions on it. And guess what? Sometimes some people don't get all the questions right. And you got to kind of pay attention to get the questions right. They're not all that easy. But I want everybody to get Proctor dollars, and we can invest those into various things. As a matter of fact, let me show everybody this. This will be fun. Coming up, September 12th, we're doing a Southeastern Conference chapter meeting. So now I realize that, coming into Atlanta for 4 hours, probably not on your agenda, but I just want everybody to know that there are chapter meetings that go on around North America. Toronto, Blake, you've done them out in Southern California. Okay, we've got one going on down here in Georgia as well. So for anybody that's within driving distance, come on. All right, come on in. I doubt it. But here's what we're going to do, Blake. We're going to live stream it. Okay, so this will be available for registration coming up here pretty soon at craigproctorcoaching.com. But I just wanted to let everybody know that I am doing a chapter meetings pretty much on how to recruit, hire, and train super profitable sales team. That's going to be the focus of our discussion. So if that's an interest to you, at least get on the live stream and you'll find out all about that here in the next couple of days on registration and all that kind of stuff. Now, Blake, you are going to be doing a couple of sessions on this very topic too in Anaheim at the Millionaire Agent Maker Conference coming up October 10th and 12th. Is that right?
Yep, yeah. That's right. That's what you tell me, man.
Well, I appreciate everybody doing it. Now, so as a reminder, this will be the biggest. It'll be close to 800,000 members there. It's going to be our biggest conference, but we are going to do a lot of breakups here in the small groups. And I don't know if every one of you got the memo coming. His name's Jim Fox, and Jim is Vice President World Affairs with McDonald's Corporation. Okay, so Jim's going to be there, and the reason he's coming is because we invited him. He said, absolutely, I'd be willing to come, and that's to share a thing or two with all of us about systems. Okay, he knows a thing or two about it, obviously, with McDonald's Corporation, and he also knows the issues that people have when implementing and following systems. So he's going to divulge the secrets behind the most successful McDonald's franchisees copying and following the systems and getting them implemented faster, okay, within their own business. So this is going to be real dynamite. So we've got him there. So I'd recommend everybody get to craigproctorcoaching.com, schedule events tab, and you can see right there, you can download the agenda, view event details, and register. So let's make sure that everybody's full on involved in that. These meetings here, they're not really optional, guys. These are offsites to fill up and work on your rocks, your big initiatives to move your business forward. We have a lot of fun at these things, and I get all that, but this is it, man. These meetings they're big deals. So Blake, anything to add on the Millionaire Agent Maker Conference coming up in October?
Yeah, I want to point something out to all the members. Todd, you and I see each other at every single conference. You know, 2 in Toronto, 2 in Florida, 2 in California. I look at it as just a requirement in my business. And for the rest of you guys, if, Todd talked about this at the beginning, want to take quantum leaps in your business. That's what this system is, the quantum leap system, not the incremental gain system. And wanting to do that requires a certain level of sacrifice when it comes to going to these around North America, being present away from your business and your family, but to be able to work on your business. That's how I attribute myself from going from $60,000 in 2014, to this year. We're going to go over what we did last year, probably around somewhere around 1.6 million, is because I take the necessary time to go to these events and learn. But the ones in Anaheim, I can tell you, Todd, I take my leadership team and take my team members to not only get more into the Craig Proctor culture, but with my leadership team, taking them to the Titanium Mastermind and the Platinum Conference, it gives us 4 to 5 days away from the office around the brightest people in the industry to not only mastermind with, but also spend time together and talk about what we want to go do back and do in our office. Because during the rest of the week when we're just here, okay, we're here in the morning, we leave in the evening, go to our families. To get them to buy into the environment that I just came from, if it's just me going to these conferences, Todd, it's too hard. They don't have the energy from the conference, the vibes from the conference, the knowledge from the conference. And so that's why I always find it, not only do I want to get to every single one around North America to make progress in my business, but also, especially the ones in Anaheim, taking my key people there. So they buy in to the system. Yep.
That's a big deal. I like the word offsite. I like the word meeting. Conference sounds optional, but I like that language. That means something different. And this will be the best business meeting on pro growth strategies and implementation and systems that we've ever put together. You can take a look at the agenda and see that. So I challenge everyone to come and see for yourself. All right. So let's get going with some of the content that I wanted to get to Blake. Get to today, Blake. And that I've got 3 things on my agenda. The first one was increasing sign calls. The next one was getting sign calls without having any signs. So we'll call it digital sign calls, more ads, more places. And then maybe we can finish it up with a touch on direct mail. So we'll squeeze all that in here in the next 20 minutes with Blake, and we'll take some questions, and we'll have a lot of progress being made today. So I threw up on the screen here just an example of for sale sign marketing. I call it a system. So now, Blake, do you need to put a for sale sign in the front yard to sell that house?
Do I need to? No, I don't need to put a for sale sign in front of the yard.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I bet you that most of us don't need to put a for sale sign in the front yard to sell the home. If we didn't put a sign up, we would still sell it. Could be that we sell it in the same time frame, same amount of money. But so that leads to a question of why do we put signs up, in the yard? And so once I discovered from Craig that I could sell my listings without putting for sale signs up, it gave new perspective to why put for sale sign in the front yard. And Craig says, yeah, dude, it's to help you get more listings. And I was like, well, what do I need to do with these signs to get more listings? He said, well, it's really a system, okay? And you want to use that system to communicate your offers to get more people calling you, especially those with houses to sell. Okay, so real quickly, this should not be a stranger picture or image to anybody on the webinar, but you got to stay consistent at it. So I'll point out just a couple of things we don't talk about much here, Blake. Okay, so for example, the post. So it is less money to put in that the smaller post sign that sits down in the yard, kind of like the house talk sign is on. It is less money, but we got more calls on the signs that had the big post. I did personally in Metro Atlanta. Now I don't know if that's true for everybody else out there, but as buyers were driving down the road and they saw everybody's for sale signs that quote looked the same, our signs did not look like everyone else's. Okay, and that was an important distinction that Craig gave me early on. Now, Blake, where you guys are at Temecula, do you have requirements or restrictions on what you can do out in the yards?
No.
Have you found it to be true that you basically increase sign calls by just positioning or the way the thing looks standing out over and above other signs?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So everybody can see that. Just get a good look at it. Whether it's the trade rider, one number on the sign versus 3 or 4. And, that's a big deal. We probably should talk about that. I know that there's requirements out there. We have them in Georgia where the quote broker's phone number has got to be on the for sale sign. I'm not a broker and that sort of thing, but my preference is to have one number on the sign so that's the number they're calling. So what we figured out is that we can have the broker's number forward to wherever it needs to go. In that case, my office. And so that worked out really, really well. What are you doing about that, Blake, as far as phone numbers on the sign? Cell number, office number, what are you doing?
Yeah, so we have actually a number through, it's an office number through Ring Central, and it calls the office. And after, I think it's 3 rings, that's her number. So Kiona has 3 rings to answer the phone. And if she doesn't get it within 3 rings, the answering service, Answer Connect, picks it up immediately and takes down the contact information of the person calling.
I got you. Okay. All right. I like that. Oops. Okay. Now, next thing, we're trying to get more listings. So I like to use radio talking house, but there were just so many issues with overhead interference and other things in my marketplace. We graduated to the 21st century with house talk, which is the same thing as radio talking house, except it's done over your device or car Wi-Fi. And most of you are very familiar with what house talk is. So it's just a talking house, an audio message of the property, pretty much a commercial around our USP. So Blake, you're pretty good at promoting your USP on your signs, whether it's to trade up or on your secondary signs, even when I call your office and get put on hold. So give me an idea, like incoming sign calls turning into listings. Give me some story on it. Give me some background. How's it working? Anything that I'm missing here that you've discovered?
No, so when I left, we were down at your office and I came down and, I'm looking over the numbers. Looking over the numbers, where did our business come from so far this year? Where did our closings come from? And then also, what were the expenses when it came to marketing? And I told you, I'm like 80% of my marketing dollars are only producing about 40% of my business. I said the 40% of another 40% of my business is being created with no cost. So no cost, and it's not referrals. What it was digital sign calls and sign calls. So we identified that by having more signs out in the yard and having more properties up online for people to inquire about, not only do they create the most ready to act prospect, the prospects that are furthest along in the buying cycle, but they're also at the same time practically free. So, even this sign system is in front of each and every one of our listings. Buy this home and I'll buy yours at the top. The sign, just like you see it, everyday open house is a writer. One other writer that we do below that is it says Miracle Home. And so each one of our homes is the Children's Hospital Miracle Home because we donate a portion of our income on every single transaction to the Children's Hospital. And then we have House Talk. So not only are those in front of our for sale, the homes that we actually have for sale, we made one adjustment and we took off awesome home for sale, and we actually just made it where it looks like a billboard. You know what I mean? Like we're just removing home for sale. So, and then I went to friends and family members, and I said, hey, could I give you guys $100 or $200 gift card every single month? If I could put this sign in front of your yard to help me grow my business. And with every sale, I'm going to not only donate money to the Children's Hospital, but it's going to make a really big impact in the kids' lives. And they're like, yeah. So, I have signs in front of people's houses and on corners and all over the place. Anywhere I can get a sign, Todd, I'm getting a sign up.
That's interesting. So you're moved for sale, so you can get away with that. All right, let's talk about directionals. So one of the rules of engagement for putting out for sale signs with our real estate sales team is to put out the for sale sign and at least 2 directionals, preferably 3. So that everybody knows what directionals are. I don't have the picture handy. I wasn't prepared to throw that up here, but I wish I did. But on the directional, it says home for sale. There's an arrow and our phone number. That's it. So nothing else on the directional, nothing cute. And the directionals actually got us more calls many times, not always, but many times than the actual for sale sign itself, because people are like, well, where's the house, and that sort of thing. So it led even to putting directionals out that would point to other people's listings. And this is something I want to make sure everybody's clear on. Yes, we would put a directional out in neighborhoods that said home for sale with our phone number on it, and it would point to other people's properties at times, even for sale by owners. Okay, and that turned out to be a really good strategy for increasing incoming calls to our phone number. Okay, so a lot of people here are trying to, they're initially when I throw up the picture of the sign, yeah, I don't have any listings. That's not going to help me. I'm not getting that many listings. Well, look, we got to just back away a little bit, and you got to think a bit more creatively, especially in marketplaces where inventory is a bit low. So you've heard Blake say, look, you could get signs out without having to have a listing. You just probably don't want to say it's for sale. You can use directionals on all of your properties as well as others, people properties. And if you need to get permission to be able to do those things, go get it, right? Just like Blake said. Don't do anything stupid. Make sure you're following the rules and regulations out there. But I don't get why people would pre-decide not to do things to increase sign calls. So that's a pretty good list of initiatives right there, just around for sale signs. I'm gonna flip it over, Blake, because you mentioned Zillow in a good context and a bad context, both in the same sentence. But tell us a little bit more about these digital, what'd you call them, digital sign calls, and how you go. What's your strategy there to increase incoming calls online?
Yeah, so I call them digital sign calls. Do you want to flip it over to my screen where I can show you examples of properties that are not mine, but that are up on Zillow as for digital sign calls?
Yeah, let's do that. Andrea, can you flip it over to Blake's screen there? There you go, Blake. Go ahead and.
All right, perfect. So as you can see right here, we're going to go over coming soon. And so I have to load up as many coming soon properties as I possibly can on Zillow, because this right here, I can tell you the first quarter of this year, Zillow coming soon produced 66% of our business. 2/3 of our closings in the first quarter of this year were produced off of this one strategy alone. So all we did was take the platinum strategy, how to actually write the advertisements here on Zillow, in the description part. But this property right here, Todd, it is for sale by owner. For sale by owner. One of my agents was driving by, saw the sign in front, called it, went over, met with them. They're not really ready to list with a real estate agent yet, but we got an open listing agreement with them. They're going to pay us 3% commission if we bring a buyer. But for us, we're like, okay, but we want the ability to put it up as Zillow as a coming soon. They're like, yeah, you can put it anywhere you want. Great. Another property for us to advertise. So here's a property right here, another property for us to advertise that people are calling in. We went ahead and spent the money and got some professional photos taken of the house, minimal cost, because now we own the rights to market this property online. It only comes to me, so that when somebody inquires about the property on Zillow, the lead only comes to me. It doesn't go to anyone else, okay? And then I'm always making the guarantee over here, buy this home and we'll buy yours, the move up offer. And then they can contact me directly for updated pricing and to get more information on the property. And then finally, a piggyback ad at the bottom. This piggyback ad, guys, I notice a lot of members aren't running that piggyback ad at the bottom. This thing right here, Todd, produces probably 10 to 15 free leads every single month. I'm sorry, every single week, not every month. Every week we're generating, because the amount of coming soons we have out, we're generating 10 to 15 free leads a week from this Winchester Pool Homes for Sale. That URL with the dash in it, because it's a hyperlink people can click and copy, we use that, and that one right there is just for Zillow, and we can track how many people are coming off of it. Like I said, 10 to 15 a week easy. So this is a property that we don't have listed. We have an open listing because it's a for sale by owner, but here we have it up for sale, up is a coming soon on Zillow, producing inbound calls. This one right here is an investor sale. So what I mean by investor sale is this is a local investor in town that he sells the houses himself, but I went and made a deal with him, and I got the ability to pre-market his coming soon properties, because he's not in the business of actually helping buyers buy houses, buyers and sellers. So we struck a deal, and he gives me the ability to pre-advertise all of his flip properties for at least 2 weeks before it goes live onto the market, and at my price. As you can see, just in the Zestimate, I'm listing this way below, and being able to drive in inbound phone calls every single day on these properties.
All right, so you've got some creative strategy here to just get more ads out there, and this is just one place to run ads. We'll run through the list here in a moment of all the cool places we can run ads that really don't cost anything. You call them digital sign calls, which is really sort of a USP property ad. Yep. I like that. All right, so investors' homes, they'll let you run ads on them. FSBOs will let you run ads on them. I'm sure you've got buyers in your database with houses to sell, that you're soliciting to see if you can quote pre-market their home with no guarantee that they give you the listing. That's a pretty slick idea. I don't know, you doing that at all?
I haven't reached out to them to talk to them about pre-marketing, or let me rephrase that. We haven't been able to execute on it yet. We've talked to some people, but just not been able to execute yet.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how valuable that would be, but I guess the answer is no if you don't ask.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. So how many of these ads that you have in this place? You know, we're looking at Zillow coming soon. How many ads are you running there on any given day?
Between the properties we have listed that are for sale, there's and coming soon's 22 right now. Coming soon's we only have, I think, 12 right now, but we're changing that. We're in the process of getting more. One of the things that we started doing, Todd, is when the property goes into escrow, we get the seller's ability to unsyndicate the property onto the market because, and we have them sign this little form. What we're doing is as soon as it goes pending, we're unsyndicating it from the market, which takes it off Zillow, and we're throwing it right back up as a coming soon so that we can continue to drive in phone calls even through the escrow process. It's a little trick that Jim taught me to be able to continue to drive in inbound sign calls while you're in the escrow process, because that's just like a for sale sign, Todd, a yard sign. When I drive by and I see where it says in escrow or pending, you know what I mean, or offer accepted on the sign, what I'm really seeing is just a big red thing that says don't call me. That's all I'm seeing. Don't call me. And so I want those inbound calls. So now we're putting those back up as a coming soon, and we're continuing to work to get more properties on here. But right here, this is a better ROI than buying the leads on Zillow. We can only generate so many leads from this source, but our conversion is twice as good. Our conversion rate is over 10% on these leads, and our ROI is pretty much infinity because the cost of it is practically nothing. This cost me $200 because of the professional photos. That was it.
Yeah, so let me make sure we drill down on that, because I see we got some questions on it. So Zillow doesn't charge you to run ads in coming soon?
Zillow, you have to be a premier agent. And all we did was find a city in our state that we could buy for $100. And we bought, it was like 5% market share out in the desert somewhere. And by doing that, it gave me the ability to put coming soons anywhere in the state of California. You don't have to buy market share in the zip codes you want to run coming soon, or vice versa. You just have to be considered what's called a premier agent. And I've seen I do it for $100 a month. So it costs me $100 a month, and divide that by, right now, Todd, 10 listings. It's $10 a month per listing.
Yeah, that's a great deal, dude. So your remarks here, you got a consistent system for what you're saying about the properties. I like that. Your picture, I like that. The guaranteed sell guy, great job. So all of those things seem to work towards getting more calls. And you since the property's not actually for sale, I think that's what coming soon means, not for sale. The price has got extreme flexibility. So, all right, that's good stuff, dude. All right, so tell me more about the digital sign calls. Anywhere else that you're running ads other than this place to get these more calls?
It's not as much as running ads, but another source for members to look up. I'm going to see if I can you can go to realtor.com, and they have a listing enhancement feature. So it's different per person, per market area, and they look at how many homes that you listed the previous year, because pretty much they're trying to figure out what how much revenue they're going to lose by selling you your own leads back. But for me, it cost me about $400 a month, and what it is any person on realtor.com that inquires on my own listings, I get those leads. So I don't need to go and buy other people's leads. I can just pay $400 a month to realtor.com, and that's over, for a 6 or 12 month contract. And I just generate my own leads. So on my own properties. But those have to be syndicated to realtor.com. You can't put them up, but that's another way Platinum members can generate inbound inquiries on their own listings, like digital sign calls, without, losing them to competitors. The final place that or another place online is going to be homes.com.
Hey, real quick, while you're pulling that up, if I'm in Canada, I can do the same thing on realtor.ca, realtor.com, realtor.ca. So just wanted to remind everybody that. But there's some restrictions on Realtor.com. You can go in and enhance your remarks and juice the thing up a bit. Is that right?
If you're telling me that's the first time I've heard that we could do that on there. I don't know of that.
Okay. Well, unless they've changed something, you should be able to pay them a bit more, and you can go in and juice your property up, remarks and other things. But someone that's in the middle of doing that might weigh in on it here momentarily.
Okay, I'm gonna make that note to do.
Okay,
to-do list.
So yeah, check it out. I mean, if I could go, like, if it's working that good in other places where you're juicing up your remarks and your offers and all those kinds of things, your profile seems like you would do the same thing on Realtor.com, Trulia, and wherever else you show up, or where you can get properties, Homes.com. You're about to show us that. Just take a look.
So Homes.com, that was actually Homes.com trying to call me right now. In Homes.com, you can run coming soon properties. You don't have to be a preferred agent, but you do have to pay for the ability per listing. So for $50 per month, you can put up to 5 coming soon properties on Homes.com. We actually just signed up for that service to be able to run them there. Because now I'm looking at it like this, Todd, okay, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, those are 3 of the top 5 website property search sites that you find when you go to, that are organically on Google when people type in homes for sale. And so we want to make sure that our properties that are on there, not only are we able to have more properties on there, but also we want to make sure that we're able to get the leads off of there on our own properties. Mm-hmm. So that's another site that members can go to. I'm just setting that up right now. Just found out about it last week.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty slick. Yeah, let us know how that works.
Yeah.
All right, yep, go ahead. Keep going.
Another place is Facebook. So you have me running it right now, either a hot list or a property ad every single day. Todd's like, every day, go on there, run a property ad on your branded page, which is free, your less branded page, your marketplace, your personal page, Craigslist, and all the other websites. So that's what we do. I have an assistant every day going here and running the houses. So they're running an ad for the home. It's almost identical to what you see on Zillow. And so every day we're running a home on our branded page, and you can actually hit the button that says call now. So when you're setting it up, instead of learning more, they can merely press this button, it says call now, and it will make an outbound phone call to you. So this is another place that you can be running. So for a lot of you who are running Facebook ads as we speak, you're running Facebook ads, you're driving people to your Facebook page, and a lot of people are liking it. Now it's time to run them free ads to them over and over and over again. So the branded page is somewhere you can run it, and also in the marketplace. So this is what our marketplace ad looks like. Now we've got branding on the top and bottom of it with our photo, our USP, and our phone number built into the picture itself. But we run this in Facebook.
All right, okay, so slow down a little bit, because I'm just speculating that there's some folks on the webinar here that aren't running any ads on Facebook Marketplace, or have put ads there before and just didn't get very many calls. So what you're revealing here is a pretty good strategy with your hot remarks that work pretty well for you in the other places. You're able to get those into the Facebook Marketplace ads by embedding them into the picture. Is that right? Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah, sorry. I end up talking fast sometimes. Yeah, we embed our phone numbers and our USPs into the picture itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What happens when someone just direct message you? Because you're telling them to call, but they don't. They just click the button and it's like a direct message. What happens in?
We have an automatic response that says this: if you would like to get current price of this home or for more up-to-date information on the home, call the listing agent, Blake Corey, at this number. And I just responding back to them with that message. But that's an auto response. If they say something, then my assistant, my inside sales agent, is picking it up and working on communicating with them to actually get them to call into the office. Because for us, we don't book appointments over Facebook Messenger. We just never have. We need to get the prospect onto the phone, go through the script, and book the appointment. So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering how you were following through trying to get it actually on the phone, because it can turn into this back and forth conversation on Facebook.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, got it. That's good. All right. So there's auto response. Isn't some of the questions things like, is this property available? Isn't that the most common?
That is the most common question. The number one question, is the property available?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so respond yes. Give me a call. Here's the number you can reach me at for more details. I like that. Okay, that's pretty strong. All right, good. Okay, so let me make sure I got my list together before you do anything else. That's all right. So here's what you've covered right now. You covered your personal Facebook page, posting the property ads, the business Facebook pages, posting property ads. You even said less branded Facebook pages that we may have set up to run paid ads on or with, running them there as well. I didn't even think about that. That's really good. Zillow coming soon was a place. House Talk was a place. Facebook Marketplace, another place. And I guess the one that we didn't mention was Craigslist or Kijiji.
Yep, Craigslist and Kijiji. I don't have it up here, but Craigslist right now is another place that we're running. And we actually, for us, we're tracking every phone number. We're assigning every system a different phone number right now. So Facebook has its own individual localized phone number. Craigslist has its own phone number. We're tracking and monitoring exactly where the phone calls are coming in. And daily right now, because we're reposting anywhere from 3 to, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to turn that off on my computer, to be honest with you, all the texts and things coming through. But on average right now, we're getting like 3 to 7, I'd say 3 to 7, between 3 and 4 inbound phone calls from Craigslist, running between 7 and 8 ads right now. And they're all free ads, and not a lot of them are on our own properties. A lot of them are the hot list, the hot list ads disguised as a property ad. The ones that we were running, that we've run on Zillow before, we're using those same, what looks like a property ad, but it's actually a hot list ad. I don't know if you have those to show the members at all.
I think I've got a couple here on my machine. We'll look at them here in a minute. So, all right, so that's a pretty good list. I think, though, that some people watching the webinar, just troubleshooting this a bit here, would be, okay, I throw a property ad on Craigslist, and nobody calls. It might take 3 ads to get 1 call. You've got to find the right combination. It varies from market to market. Same thing on Facebook Marketplace, just based on supply and demand. But be aggressive with the images and the pricing in the area, because that's all part of the ad combo, message to market match. So all those things still play. So even though Craigslist might be a low traffic place for many of us, we can get ad calls daily from Craigslist. But we've got to run more than 1 ad, typically 5 or 6, 8, 10 ads on a day, and we get incoming calls. We make the images look good, bring the price down in the hot areas, and that combination seems to make the telephone ring pretty well with people calling in, and we're very happy with that. So that's a pretty good job right there. Blake, go ahead.
I want to say something. I want to talk about that, though. A lot of coaching members of mine, when I first talked to them about doing this, they were running their properties, and they weren't getting the best responses all the time. A couple things that I noticed. I said, number one, is this what the market wants? They're like, well, no, this isn't it's out there it's far out there. It's not, people really don't want to drive that far, or the house is overbuilt for the area. I said, then why are you running the ad? It wasn't what the market wants. So you guys got to think about this. You have to offer, Todd taught me this a long time ago, you got to offer what the market wants. Mm-hmm. You can find that out by testing different ads. So you're testing, for me, if I have 1 or 2 listings, Todd, that nobody really wants and they're not selling, why would I run those houses? I mean, I should be running hot list ads, offering the market what it wants to drive in the leads, because the purpose of the ad is to get people to pick up the phone and call you, not to try and sell a house. So from that perspective, offer what people want, okay? You have to offer what people want. You have to have good photography, good images that make people want to pick up the phone and call you. And there has to be a very big, compelling reason to do so. You know, if it's the hot list ad, it better be something that people really want rather than what people can find and get anywhere. That's not going to attract people to call you. And to Todd's point, yeah, Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, it's not about one ad, it's not about two ads, it's about 8 ads, 9 ads, 10 ads. But with the ability of running hot lists, we can run as many as we want because there's so many hot lists that we can run. It's pretty much endless. So you guys can always have ads out there working for you and generating inbound phone calls.
So let's flip it over to my screen. I got a couple of Craigslist ads here. These are pretty interesting. So just for kicks, we'll take a quick peek at it. I found this one from one of our guys. Check this out. Property advertised may not be available for sale. It may be a representation of properties. Interesting. All right, so depending on the supply and demand in the marketplace, we can get pretty creative with our offers, and that's a pretty interesting offer, creating scarcity. I like that, but it's basically what you said, a free list ad, right? Free list of homes. You can see the piggyback aspect of it right there. So that's cool. All right, so Blake, anything else you want to add on digital sign calls before I ask you a couple of questions about direct mail?
No, not at this time. I mean, we've covered a lot of places that you guys can be running them. And Todd, we're going to go into direct mail here in a second, but, think about all the different places you can be running them to drive in more phone calls. Sometimes for some of you, it just may be looking up on Google the word home for sale, and look at all the websites that pop up and see, can I run ads there? You can run ads on Fizbo.com and ForSaleByOwner.com and a bunch of other websites to drive in phone calls and inquiries into your office on a daily basis. You have to think like a marketer, though.
And here's a good list. I just threw up on the screen. We've looked at this at a couple of conferences now, and a few webinars. So I just threw it up as a reminder. So your own website as a pocket listing. Holy crap, we left that one out. That's pretty strong.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know many people have a lot of traffic to their websites, but they're not really, they're not getting maybe a response they want, depending on how the traffic's being driven there. Well, if I'm a high traffic website, I'm going to have all my listings as ads on my own website, and that button is going to be huge. View listings. All right. Personal Facebook page, business Facebook page. You mentioned a less branded Facebook page. Craigslist, Kijiji, Zillow coming soon, House Talk, Facebook Marketplace. That's a good list. So yeah, I would challenge everyone to get about a dozen, say 6 to 12 ads running in any one of these places on any given day. And boy, it's going to be really hard not to get more incoming calls. Takes a little bit of work though, Blake, to get that many property ads put in these places here. How are you going about doing that within your business? Because I don't think you're posting ads, 6 or 12 ads a day, a week. Who's doing it?
No, so I went through the process once, identified how to do it, then recorded myself doing the activity, then gave the recording to one of my virtual assistants, and gave her all the ad templates. And then for the first 3 days, had her send me examples, and I either approved or made modifications. And after I saw that she could do it on a consistent basis, then I let her go. She posts these automatically every single day. And then at the beginning, or I'm sorry, at the end of the day, she shows me a copy of every single ad she ran out there in the marketplace. So
got it. Gotcha.
Just trying to, it's just a copy and paste for her more than anything. She's not creating the copy. She's just copying what I've already prepared for her to run.
Okay. All right, excellent. So we'll take some questions here momentarily. Hang in there, guys. That's good. So we'll go to part 3 of this part 4 part series. We've covered a lot of ground today, but I needed to get all this in so we can so it could be on the record of it. And boy, I don't know if you've been on the other webinars, Blake, but this has really been a good 4-part series on the overall strategy for dramatically increasing incoming calls. We've covered a lot of ground, from marketing to our databases, to what we just talked about today, more ads in more places more often. We've touched on direct mail, signs, everything else, everything having to do with making the phone ring at a higher level on every given day. But let's drill down a bit more on some direct mail. So I threw this just sold card up here because I like it. I like that the USP is ginormous, okay? But I don't like, if Terry's on the webinar today, I don't like the phone number is far removed from the USP. So if you look over here on the left side, I'll get my little drawing pin out. This is good. Nothing wrong with that. That's solid. I just, it's me based on, maybe I'm old school, but if it were me, I would have the phone number right in here somewhere for sure. Like, I don't want it to get too far away from my big deals. Okay to have the phone number in there multiple times, okay? And that's the big thing I noticed. Another thing I noticed here was this free special report offer doesn't work real well, if at all, with a call and talk to me type offer. So if your call to action is to call me to get their free report, that might work with leads that you already have generated, like past clients and Sphere and that sort of thing. But I doubt it's going to work very well with strangers, people that have never spoken to you before. So best thing to do is just to throw in your information line to get that report, and you'll increase response from that offer. So threw that out there for Terry. So, but here's some of the ingredients I like. We got a risk reversal, like that, great job. Statistical USPs, they're all right here. We sell for more money, we sell them faster, just more likely to sell. That's cool. Like that, I'm the agent with the buyers. And hey, don't take my word for it. This person right here says Terry's the person to call. I will recommend that if you're going to use third-party endorsement, you're a bit clear on who the endorser is. So I don't know who this guy is here. Maybe it's Terry's husband or child. Can't tell. But might want to tell him who it is. Blake Corey, athletic director, North Cobb High School, for example. Okay, so now, Blake, you're doing some direct mail. You still there, buddy?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I'm doing direct mail.
Okay. All right, so just give everybody a heads up there on what's working, what's not working in your business with direct mail to make the telephone ring.
Yeah, so right now, direct mail is probably the #1 thing outside of digital sign calls that produces us business, and it's my #1 listing generator right now is direct mail. So right now we have 2 things implemented. #1 is the Platinum for Sale by Owner Expired Listing Direct Mail System. The second thing is the Cash for Your Home letter that was sent out from you, Todd, or that you even did a webinar on this Cash for Your Home offer. We send that out to old expired listings, older than 90 days. And that's been a really good tool for us to generate inbound phone calls from sellers. Both pieces are all about generating inbound phone calls. So that's what they do. We don't have URLs or anything else on it. We just have our phone number coming in. And so that generates inbound phone calls so we can, so I can actually talk to real life sellers who want to sell their house. And so when those calls come in, those are our highest converting prospects other than referrals. #1, and #2, right now we are listing and selling. Well, I'm sorry, we're listing 3 out of every 4 people that call in, and we're selling at least 2 out of every 3 of those homes.
That's solid. That's good results. Okay,
Yep.
So I had some people ask me, hey, what does the back of that postcard look like? Well, I would encourage you to try a few different things. So if that just sold card that we were just looking at that might go out around properties that we've sold, or even as a farming piece, or even as a follow-up piece to folks in my database to have a house to sell. This offer here is solid, but it just needs to get out there. And it's not a direct call, but these leads are pretty solid, calling into an information line. And I bring this up here for a reason. Write this down, everyone. This is a to-do. Make sure your zero transfer feature is activated on your hotlines, okay, that people can reach you, without necessarily having to leave a message, okay? And there's nothing wrong with, on your branded USP property trees, even giving out your phone number where people can reach you directly, in addition to that single-digit transfer, okay? So if you're not sure what I mean, just write that down, investigate that, but that's a big deal. Anytime you're driving traffic to an information line, they're using the phone, so go ahead and direct them to reach on out to you if it's a branded info line. But on these less branded postcards like this, I like this offer used in 9 ways to Sunday, in my newsletters, the back of a postcard on direct mail, but it's directly targeting homeowners, people who are interested in possibly making a move, selling their house. So wanted to throw that up there as well. Well, that's a lot of ground. Okay, we've been at this now for well over an hour on discussions through several key ways to get the phone ringing with prospects. We've got a list of questions. Blake, do you have a few minutes to take a few? I know I kept you well beyond what I told you I was going to do here today. So you got a couple of minutes? Put you on the spot? All right, good. Absolutely. So let's flip it over to Andrea. And Andrea, let's take some questions here. I know we've got more than we could probably get to, but let's try to get to as many as we can if it's okay.
You got it. We have one from Ashley asking, Blake, what phone company did you use or did you subscribe to the phone number that allows you to track the phone calls?
Success.
Okay.
Success website?
Yep, Success website.
Tony asks, can you display an ad from Kijiji or Craigslist for them to call us? Should we put the phone number in the ad, or should we offer a free list only and the link be directed to the unbranded website?
Well, you can't put a link in a Craigslist ad anymore. I don't know about Kijiji, but there's no Craigslist ad. But if you think about it, Tony, we're not trying to generate more people going to our website and clicking and doing all that kind of stuff. The whole purpose of this call was to drive in more phone calls into our business. So we purposely don't have those things there. We're purposely running our phone number there so that they call us, okay? We're not wanting them, we're not trying to generate them as a lead again. We're wanting, in the sense of going to our website and inquiring for a hot list. I've got plenty of those right now. I want people picking up the phone and calling me directly.
Okay, so let me make sure. I think on Craigslist, I'll try to pull that back up, but on Craigslist, yeah, you can show contact info, and it's whatever you tell people the contact information is. So, like you said, Blake, if you want people to call you, then you got to say, call me.
Call me.
Yeah, call me. So that's a big deal. Good question, though, but I like that strategy. You're right. We lead the industry in terms of generating leads from ads on Facebook or Google. We've got that down. We can generate them by the hundreds, thousands on a monthly basis for sure. So that system typically gets up and running early on in the Craig Proctor system. So I don't think we need to spend much time on that, although we can and we will if it's an issue. So I will bring this up for everybody listening right now. If you're having issues with your ads, your online ads that are primarily hot list driven, if you're having any issues with those in terms of you're not making money from it, you're not getting the right, what I call the ideal customer from it, that comes on your issues list. Issue, okay? And you get that issues list to your coach on your consults, and you're going to prioritize what's an issue, and you're going to drill down and solve that on those consults. Otherwise, I don't know what's happening on these consultations. And we can get general questions answered on the fly, but boy, we sure do want to solve an issue on that. So wanted to squeeze that one in. Hey, Blake, I'm looking at your profile here, your online profile, which sort of looked like that just sold branded card that I threw up a second ago. Risk reversal, you got the buyers, you sell homes faster, more money, all that kind of stuff. How important is it to incorporate all those things into your branded marketing?
Oh yeah, the statistical USP. Well, let me tell you, Todd, I took a listing about 2 weeks ago just because of the profile. They called in, wanted to only speak to me, wanted me. I did a listing appointment over the phone just because they saw my profile status. They read all of that, and they said, "You seem to be the guy with the buyers, and that's who we want to talk to." I said, "That's me, man. That's me."
It's funny that sellers like agents that have buyers. You ever notice that?
Oh yeah, and you know what? And even buyers, they like to work with agents that have houses, man.
There you go. All right, Andrea, let's take another.
Well, Jonathan Baston has asked several questions and raised his hand, so I thought we could open his line. Jonathan, go ahead.
Thanks.
Hey, Todd. Hey, Blake. How you guys doing?
Hey, buddy. Good.
Quick question. Is there, Blake, are you willing to share those ads that you showed us today, and where can we get them?
Yeah, of course. I'm absolutely willing to share them because they're just copied from what's already in the coaching site. But if Todd, if you want me to give those to you, whatever people want, just let me know. And if I can send it to you, Todd, send it to Andrea, send it to Adrian to put on the site, whatever you guys want to do.
Yep, just send them over and we'll post it and send everybody a note and let them know.
Okay.
And you had mentioned about autoresponders. I've been looking a lot into the AI stuff and in terms of like artificial intelligence. When a lead comes in and has kind of a conversation with you, and then at certain trigger points that it will communicate. Is that what you mean by an autoresponder?
I don't know. The autoresponder we were talking about was just on Facebook when they inquire, when they like press the in details button or inquiry button where they send you a Facebook message. I'll tell you, man, there's nothing in sales there's no artificial intelligence that can close deals like you. You're the rainmaker, you're the guy that needs to be on the phone, or for you to have inside salespeople, there's just nothing that replaces that. Everybody, you have to be able to go through the universal callback script. You have to be able to talk to the prospect and book it. I'm telling you, the percentage of even deals we've closed just via text without talking to the person before meeting is less than 5%. I just don't know how anyone's ever going to be able to book appointments and sell houses, with artificial intelligence. I'd be more focused on just, booking on enough time and calling back the leads. You can use stuff like text to figure out who to call first, but it's once again, it's who to call first.
Okay. And what filters or parameters are you finding that work best in your ads?
I don't understand the question. Todd, do you understand the question?
When you create an ad on Facebook, you have certain criteria or filters or parameters you can pick, right? Like location, income, etc. Which parameters are you finding that work best?
If we're talking about the marketplace ads, there are no parameters. All the advertisements that we showed today, you're just posting there. There's really no parameters of who sees it. That's more on paid advertisement through Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right about that. When you're, you know how we used to run ads in the newspaper, like the homes for sale section in newspaper? We just put it in there. We paid for it, and whoever went there to look is who saw it. And by design, most people that went to the classified ad section, real estate for sale, homes for sale, to look for homes were people who were mostly interested in making a move. Well, some places out there online, that's not the case. Like you get people that are looking for anything and everything. But if I go to Facebook Marketplace, for example, I do have to do some filtering to only find houses for sale, homes for sale. Isn't that right, Blake? Like you've got to physically go in there and click this and click that to get there. Same on Craigslist. Like you've got to go to real estate homes for sale. So it's sort of the same thing as the old ways of running ads in the classified newspapers. It's just instead of being a newspaper, it's just on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and all these other places. The issue I think we're running into more than anything else, right, Blake, you tell me if I'm wrong, is some of these places like Craigslist telling us you can't run that ad. That's not a house for sale. That's a real estate service or some such like that. Are you guys running into that, Blake?
Members are having a problem with it. I mean, I'm not. They're not flagging us and taking us down. I mean, until Craigslist pays, sends me a fine to pay or something like that, I'm not paying attention to that. I'm running the ads. My business is, driven by people inquiring, and so I'm running ads wherever I can. You know what I mean? I'm going to ask for forgiveness rather than permission. So
I got you. Okay, let me throw this up. I went to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy. Do we get all your questions?
Sorry, Blake, are you using Commissions Inc. or are you strictly using Success?
I'm just using Success website.
Okay. All right, man. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, so before we take another question, let me show you guys this. I went to file library. I just typed into the search bar hot words. And up on the screen comes something that many of you guys have seen before, especially at workshops, hot words for classified ads. So if I'm looking at Blake's remarks that he's writing, you should be able to see that he's got his opener, which is buy this home, I'll buy yours, or your home sold guaranteed, or I'll buy it. Then he sandwiches underneath the opener words to describe the property, the house, the benefits. And a lot of people struggle with trying to find words to use to describe homes. Well, words mean things. So is it a first-time home buyer house? Is it a move-up house? So when you're writing ads, which is really what remarks are on some of these hot list ads, property ads, and the like, this is a great resource to use words to better define or describe the property. So this comes right out of our OSA workshop training. Is where I pulled this out and even put it separately because it was so good. I would encourage everybody to have this and just keep adding to it over time. So when you're listing a home, you're going to write the remarks for it, which really are the ad for the home. Then you pull your words from here. So I like that. That's pretty sharp. So didn't know if you guys knew about that. I know many people use that quite handily, but I'll go back. That's the ID number on that. Hot words for MLS remarks, which really is the ad in syndication. Let's take another question here. We'll take one more, Blake, and then we'll kind of wrap this thing up, buddy.
Okay. Our final question. When you put a very low price on a property, how do you deal with it when people really are interested in that property and when it comes on the market with a higher price? How do you handle it?
How do I handle advertising it there at that price? Yeah, so sellers are, when they call and want to see the property, okay, we book it. One of the things that I do is I never let my inside sales agents know what property is available or not, because if they know that it's, for some reason in their mind, if they think that it's unavailable, they get in their own way. They just need to think the person inquired about a house, but no matter what, we're still making them the buyer offer. And that's why we're getting together first, is to go over the buyer offer, getting them set up in our VIP homeowner system, VIP buyer program. From there, even if it's at a low price, well, price is a function of supply and demand. So, I mean, even if it's starting at this price, market value is going to be closer to here. The seller's just working on creating all the demand on the house. Mm-hmm. So, yes, it may be here, but just like in the Platinum Arbid system, you'll see at the bottom market value, 385. The market value is going to be closer to 385. The seller is just trying to create as much demand as possible from the house. So if you like it, I suggest you be somewhere around here, because that price right there is designed to drive in as much traffic through the house to get the seller the highest possible price.
Mm-hmm. All right, excellent. All right, check this out. So you want to see and hear more from Blake. All right, well, here's your chance. October 10th, 11th, and 12th. Blake's doing a session or two there at the Millionaire Agent Maker Conference. I'm hoping to get everyone there. So everyone, no matter where you are on the planet Earth, October 10th, we're going to be in Anaheim, California for the biggest, most amazing business building conference that we've ever put together. Craig, myself, all the coaches, Blake, among many other millionaire, multimillionaire agents, presenters, even a special guest from McDonald's Corporation, Jim Fox on systems. So it's going to be quite the event, Blake.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait for it. Anaheim is always awesome.
Yep, of course. You just drive. You don't have far to go, man. You don't have to get on the plane like most of us do. So, but that's okay. It is well worth it. So, with that, we better wrap this up today. So here's what you want to do now. You've got a to-do list. Aggregate it, prioritize it, whatever you want to do. Get it over to your coach. Make sure they got a copy of it. That should happen by 6 p.m. every Tuesday. And that's a pretty consistent system for working on your business. Then dedicate, I don't know, an hour or two every day, 5 days a week. Find the appointment time with yourself to work on implementation. It just has to be scheduled in. So no shortage of what to implement, but time can be scarce unless we're making time to work on the business that way. I want to thank the hundreds of Platinum members that jumped on the webinar today. It was a good one, Blake. Thanks for helping us out, buddy, and going the extra mile on it. Thank you.
No worries, man. You guys have a great day. Excited to see everyone in October.
All right, so with that, Andrea is going to wrap it up. Thanks a lot, everybody, on behalf of Craig Proctor, Catherine, all of our coaches, everybody associated with our system. We really appreciate you, your loyalty, being a part of our system. Reach out if you're having any issues at all. If you're stuck in any way on the growth of your business, let us know. We're here to help you achieve what your heart's desire is. So thanks again, everyone, and look forward to talking to you on the next Platinum webinar on Tuesday. And see everybody in Anaheim. Go sell big.